The Road to Rock podcast.
Welcome to the Road to Rock podcast. I'm Elysa, and this is the podcast that goes behind the scenes of the rock music industry. This week, it gives me great pleasure to be joined by the South of Salem boys. How are you doing today, guys?
Good.
Really good, thank you.
So at the minute, it's actually been a huge week for you. You have released a song yesterday.
That's right.
What has the response been so far?
It's been incredible. We've had at this point about 20,000 views across YouTube and Facebook. It was actually to mark Suicide Prevention Day, which is kind of seen across the world, and so we wanted to do something for that, and the response has been amazing. People have really felt that we've done the right thing, and it's spreading the right message, which is good. So
we should actually probably introduce you all. So you've got Pip on drums here, Joey is lead vocals, Cody is guitar, Fish is guitar, and then D is on bass. So let's go back to the very beginning with you guys. How did you come to form South of Salem?
It's like we all met each other through different avenues. Like me and Joey met each other. It's got to be over 10 years ago. It was on MySpace, right? So that's how long ago it was. And I liked the band he was in. Like, you know, you could just like a band on MySpace. And he messaged me being like, hey, do you play guitar by any chance? I'm like, yeah.
You look cool.
Yeah. It was pretty much
look
that.
like you
It's
do
you've got
play
the
an
look,
instrument.
but do you actually play the instrument you're holding in pictures, or is it just, for show? And luckily I kind of played it. So yeah, I mean, that's how me and Joey met. And I moved down to Bournemouth just to be in the band, really. So,
oh, wow. That's some dedication. Where were you living before?
Oxford.
Oh, okay.
Not too far.
Well, that's not bad. And what about you guys? How did you come together and get involved?
For me, sort of similar. I didn't really know Joey that well. We'd known each other for a offensively long time.
Yeah, just on the music scene kind of thing, seeing bands, seeing each other's bands and stuff like that, yeah.
And I just left a band, and my wife, Kirsty, knew Joey through college, and they were friends, and said he needs a drummer, and then I met them, and yeah, that was it, really.
And D, how did you get involved with the guys?
So I'd basically all but given up on music, and I'd been in bands before, and I was chewed up and spit out by the music scene. And then Pip sent me a Facebook message saying, do you want to be in a band? And I had just cut my hair.
It was terrible timing.
I'd all but given up, but Pip messaged me saying, do you want to play bass in our band? I was like, fuck yeah, I do. So I grew my hair back and I joined the band, basically.
And you're keeping the hair?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's all my fault, sorry.
Yeah, it is. Fish, what about you?
We needed a guitarist, and you were like the chef in the pub we all drank in.
Yeah. I remember cooking you guys breakfast literally every morning. You had a hangover, and Pip came along, and I'd met Pip in different avenues and different bands and things. And just decided to join you guys after repairing a couple of your guitars, and you liked what I did, and gave it a go.
Wow, so you saw them in your pub and you're like, I want to be part of that. So how long have you actually been together?
In this incarnation of this band, we've been together since, we were discussing the idea of the band in 2018, and then got into the studio in 2019. But we've all played in different bands together in some kind of form over the years, but just not as us five.
Okay, and what kind of stuff were you doing in the past? Was it the same kind of music that you're doing with South of Salem, or completely different?
Kinda. It was more of a punk rock affair.
It was less mature musically, I guess, but we were younger then, and we were just kind of having fun and discovering what our sound was going to be. But I think we never really found that in duos or trios. It was only when the five of us came together that we found our own sound and was like, oh, this is something that could go somewhere, and we really enjoy. So.
Yeah. So musically, what experiences did you have in the past? Were you touring? Did you do albums? Anything like that?
Yeah, all of that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, in different forms, in one way, shape or form, we've kind of worked together for 10 years, really. We've toured UK, Joey and I have toured Europe together and separately, and
me and D were in a band together. Like, it's
Okay.
All of our albums before were very like DIY.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
was done home recordings and stuff. And this band we just wanted to go full on with and
Yeah.
do everything properly, like we'd never done before.
Yeah.
Different level of production quality.
Yes.
It's
100%.
like totally taking a chance on ourselves with this band as well. It's like realizing, you know, everything we've done in the past has all brought us to this point, and then we've just, you know, taken the shot.
Okay. Dee, like you said, your experiences in the music industry in the past have been not great. Have you guys got a plan for what you're going to do this time? Because you've been there, you've toured, you've done albums in the past. Did you all get together and go, this is what we want to do differently? What have you decided?
One thing that we are hoping to do going forwards, and it's been really one of the things that's come out of the whole lockdown and this side, is to work a bit closer with the other bands we play with, and to try and bring back. I mean, we all grew up in like the heavy rock, the heavy metal industry and scene, and around local and around the place, and trying to get back to that where everyone built each other up. Everyone was really supportive. Everyone helped each other out, rather than it being everyone sort of fighting against each other to try and play a show. We're trying to. We're talking to a lot of our friends' bands at the same time, just to try and do that again in the future.
Okay.
High tide raises all ships. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's very good. What about musical influences? Have you had any influences going in to South of Salem?
For South of Salem specifically, we didn't really have an idea until we got into the studio. We knew what we had done in the past, and we knew we wanted to do something a bit different. It was in the studio that we really discussed influences and explored different bands that we were all into, and different sounds and techniques and things like that. But that was really led by Scott, our producer. He kind of, and the good thing about Scott is he's a little bit older than ourselves, so his like influences were like kind of a generation before our influences. So we'd be like, oh, we want it to kind of sound a bit like this. And he goes, well, to me that sounds like this band. And you go back 20 years, and it was like, oh my god, that's where we're getting our influences from, but we just haven't really kind of realised it.
Yeah, it was totally like we have one idea and say it was, oh, this is kind of like this. He's like, no, peel it back. It's actually, you know,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you're actually just a hard rock band. And we were like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still clinging on to kind of heavy metal and the punk roots. But
Yeah, definitely.
Realising that actually we all really, really like 80s heavy rock, classic rock, and that what we were trying to do, we were just missing that final element, I think, and then we brought it in there.
Well, as it is, so your album, The Sinner Takes It All, is out next week, September 25th.
That's right.
Classic Rock magazine has actually likened you to Motley Crue, Alice Cooper vibes. How does that feel, guys?
I think they hit the nail on the head. Like they got every influence that we discussed in the studio. They kind of rolled it into one and said that we were bringing it into 2020, and it was like that's exactly what we're aiming for. So for something as prestigious as classic rock to know exactly what we were going for and enjoy it, it was just an amazing feeling. Like we were all like giggling like little girls. Like,
No one's going to complain about being compared to those guys.
No. With the album, you know, it's very radio friendly. It's also been described as being very radio playable, very friendly. You know, how would you describe your album?
I don't think we kind of aimed for that. It was just like Pip said, we kind of realized that our influences were those kind of 80s hard rock bands. And when you listen to them, like, you know, they're on the radio. Guns N' Roses is on the radio, you know, Motley Crue is on the radio. And it's kind of just naturally came. I mean, there's a track on there that's got swearing and stuff. That wasn't like a thing where we were like, oh, we can't have any swearing, or we only have to have one song with swearing. It just happened to be like that.
Yeah.
And but we're glad that people are digging it and feeling that it is kind of a radio-friendly album. We're happy with that.
Was that comment from Scott, wasn't it? Scott, our producers, worked with a lot of really heavy bands as well, like Cradle of Filth. And his sort of comment was, it's by far and away the most radio-friendly album he's ever produced himself. And it's a really good thing for us.
What was it like working with him? It's Scott Atkins.
Yeah.
What's he like to work with?
He's incredible. Like he works out of a studio called Grindstone Studios. He's known for more heavy music, but he has done kind of similar-esque stuff, which is why we kind of chose him in the end. But he just brings out the best in you at all times. Like it's incredible. I mean, like the guitaring and everything, the drumming.
He's really good with guitars as well. Like me and Fish have a really like heavy metal guitar tone, and like it would have been easy to like make us peel it back and make it more classic rock, but he actually kept like a modern metal production on it, which was sick. And it like kind of makes us a bit different from everybody else.
Yeah. And when did you actually record the album?
In 2019, so it was May kind of time. So yeah, it's been a bit of a wait with everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
We were expecting to happen earlier in the year, but it's kind of given us an opportunity to release it properly and enjoy the release of the singles so far.
Yeah. So when you recorded it, did you originally plan for it to be released in 2020 or?
Yeah, kind of early 2020.
Early 2020,
Yeah.
and then we had a pandemic.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you started seeing the first signs of the global pandemic kicking in, knowing that you wanted to release your album? How did that feel for you guys?
I always take everything personally. Like anybody that knows me, like I take everything personally, and I'm like, oh, I've got the worst luck in the world. So I probably had like a little cry and a moan about it, and then probably realised the severity of it wasn't just pinpointed at me.
Yeah.
But I think we took it well. I think we just adapted, didn't we? We just adapted as a band and dealt with it as it came. I mean, it's just sad. It's good to see people coming together, but it's just sad that the reason is such a negative thing.
Yeah.
I think, like, again, what Joe was saying there, one of the silver linings that's come out of it for us is it has, as you said, the first single, Let's Pray, when we released that, was the day of the first and, as it turned out, only show we've managed to play so far. But we were so busy and we were so hyped up, we didn't really get a chance to enjoy seeing it get out there and see it released and see people's responses. With Cold Day in Hell and with the new one, it's been incredible just to sort of watch it and get feedback and be able to enjoy it. And that's if there is a silver lining, I think it's that it's given us a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
And being able to be more interactive with the fans so far. That's been incredible.
Yeah. So I was actually going to say, did you manage to get to play any shows before we went into a lockdown? Just the one.
Just the one.
Where and when? Who was the lucky crowd for that?
It was our hometown show, so we wanted the first people to see it would be the people that have supported us the longest, and so we played a hometown show at the old fire station in Bournemouth, and it went down amazingly. We loved it, loved every second of it.
Oh, that's awesome. So with lockdown kicking in, what did you guys end up doing in lockdown with regards to being in the band and the album?
Learning how to use Zoom.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
We actually did an acoustic track, which again was pretty much through Zoom or whatever it was, that program we were using at the time.
Yeah.
Which actually Fish ended up having to take us all recording our parts separately and putting it together. And then the video as well is us all filmed. I'm in my garage, Dee's in his garden, Cody's in his place. It's just all of us separate. It's just on Facebook, but it was really fun to try and do it.
Yeah, it was in the kind of isolation period where you had to be at your home as much as possible.
Yeah.
And stuff. So we just kind of filmed everyone individually from our home.
Yeah.
And also the lockdown has sort of pushed us more into getting into the online side of things as well. Like previously to this, we've been like a live band, and really this has made us think more about the online side of side of life. So we've really pushed to have an online presence,
Yeah, and I think that's worked. You guys, it has been an opportunity for you guys to really connect with your fans and build your fan base, and you have a huge following already.
It's gone really well. We're really shocked and incredibly humbled that people love it so much. It's awesome.
Yeah, let's just talk about the Coven for a second. So how has this come about? Who's in it? What do I have to do to get in it? Like, tell me.
There's no initiation process, so you can just join. That's okay.
The Coven is it's what we call our fans, but it's also our fan group on Facebook. It's pretty active. If anybody wants to join, you can join. Talk about the band, talk about who you are, introduce yourself, have some fun. It was started by Helen, who today got the very first South of Salem tattoo.
Nice work, Helen. Good work.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Helen.
Really good as well. Helen's been amazing. The new wave of classic rock page as well has been incredible.
Right.
Which Helen introduced us to, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
So
That's a huge movement that's coming through right now. Yeah.
They've been so supportive. They're always like kind of sharing our stuff and discussing it, and it just seems to be going down really well with them. So we couldn't be happier.
Great.
I think part of it, we've been really lucky with, again, everything we've done over the last 10 years. We've made some really good friends in bands and around. Like Primordial Radio is another one.
Yeah.
Jamie's been really helping us push it, and he's a really good friend of mine and Joey's. We're just really lucky to have such good people around us that like it, which helps.
Yeah.
And are really supportive of what we're doing, and yeah, it's been really good.
And it's probable that the lack of live music has kind of made people appreciate it more. I think, you had you could go to a gig every day of the week, and then it's suddenly gone. I think people have realised like how much that actually meant to them, and I think that's kind of brought out people's support even more at a time where we, kind of really needed it. So it's been brilliant.
Yeah,
nice to see.
So The Sinner Takes It All is a 12-track album. How would you describe it to people that are yet to hear it?
So it's technically a 10-track album, but we have put 2 bonus tracks across the vinyl edition and the CD version.
Okay.
So it was aimed to be a 10-track album, but we did a couple of other songs that we tried out and stuff, and they ended up being the bonus tracks.
Okay. How would you describe it? Describe the album.
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It's all right. Yeah. I think it's going to do really well, having heard it myself, if I'm honest.
I think it's just kind of it's very like raw kind of emotions, like lyrically. Like I think it's very honest. It deals with things that people don't always want to sing about or talk about. So I've kind of tried to do that lyrically. I think musically, it's by far the best thing that any of us have ever done, mostly because of we've all matured as musicians, but also with Scott's influence of pushing us to be the best we possibly could on this record. So it's by far the most favourite thing I've ever done in my life.
Like musically, if you like to describe it, it's got like a modern metal production, but like you can hear that we're influenced by like old school Aussie or like Wasp, anything like that. Like you can hear all that in there with a modern production and like quite modern playing as well. It's yeah, I like it. It's sick.
I think a lot of people are going to like it. So let's talk about the first track that you released from it, Let Us Pray. You released that back in February. What was the response when that came out? Why was that chosen as the first one to bring out?
We kind of did like a little bit of market research with everybody that had heard the album so far, and we were kind of like, which song do you think? And then I think the tiebreaker was Scott Adkins said, do Let Us Pray, and we were like, Scott Adkins says, do that.
Scott says we've got to do it.
He's not gone wrong so far, so let's do what he says. That's a good idea.
That's fair enough.
We couldn't decide. I mean, again, talking about what the album sounds like, our favourite tracks individually keep changing anyway. So trying to pick like which is the first one. It's like, well, this week it's this one. Next week it's going to be this one.
Yeah, it did take a while. I remember actually having those discussions. Now you say that, like we were discussing it, and there was like 5 songs that we were trying to decide between and then next week it would all change. And So it was a tough decision. I think just it was like the most hard hitting intro, and actually previously on like other albums that we've done, we kind of sometimes would use like a electric drum kit and stuff, and so like to have it like this hard hitting real life kit that's all like properly recorded, have that the first thing that hits you
with like intro with thunder and everything,
lightning and stuff. Like it was just like this big impactful.
Wanted to introduce everybody to the band the way we wanted to introduce everybody to the album, so it all like kind of linked together.
Yeah,
and like lyrically, you've got like everybody's all together. This is our one shot. Like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's all about like solidarity and giving it you're giving it your all. If you like the one shot, you've got one chance kind of thing. So it fitted why we started doing the album in the first place.
Yeah,
we wanted to give it one.
Who wrote it?
Well, I mean, the whole thing comes together as a 5-piece in the end, and the drums they evolved in the studio with Scott's influence, but predominantly like
his whipping of me.
Yes, he did. He did work him very hard. You actually ended up having your arm taped up for some of the recording.
That's in the making of, isn't it, as well? Like,
no way.
It was mostly gaffer tape by the end of it.
It was really funny.
That's some serious work.
Yeah, just getting those intro drums and some of the fills right. Like Scott's a professional and a perfectionist in the right way, and I can be a little bit lazy sometimes.
It's good that you can admit that, Pip.
He just wouldn't let me at all. So it's like, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Are you getting angry yet? No. Do it again then. Do it again, do it again, do it again. And then I got so stressed out. I think I went out for a breather. Came back in. It's like, do it again, do it again. It's like, I can't do it anymore. You got it right before you went out for a breather, and I wrapped in bandages and stuff. I've never really done that before, and it was such a good experience. I think for all of us.
Yeah.
In the studio, just completely different, a different level of professionalism.
Yeah. Wow. And what about the music video for that? You recorded that in Halo in Bournemouth.
Yeah, so that was like a bit of an ordeal trying to find a location, and Halo was one of the first. Pip actually suggested it right at the beginning, and then we're kind of like, oh yeah, there's Halo, like it's kind of nightclub, like I don't know. We'll look around, see if we can find like some cool like derelict building or something.
We're trying to find like an aircraft hangar. Do you know how hard it is to find an aircraft hangar?
I can
if
only
you've got a
imagine.
plane and you want to park it, no chance. Like it's literally never going to find a hangar. So yeah, but we searched around a few things, and then we came down. And we're like, should we just look at Halo? And Dee and myself went down to Halo and was like, this is so good. Like, why did we not come here?
Because it's an old church, right?
It's an old church. We just completely forgot what it was actually like in there. And like when you saw it live, we were just like, yeah, this is the place. This has always been the place. And so we recorded it there. We had a great team like helping us get some TVs, like kind of like the screens like this kind of thing, which just made it epic. That was iMag displays. They were really helpful, and we just
guys at Halo were like, do you want us to turn on the lights? And we were like, what? And then we didn't even know we were going to have it.
But I think we wanted the music video to be as big as we thought that the album sounded, and as professional as the album sounded. And previously, and again in other projects, we'd done like videos where, you know, we'd film all individually because we're all cramped into like my mum's garage or something. So we wanted something that was just massive that could fit all of us in and just have that kind of sense of grandeur. So
yeah. Well, it totally works. And did you film it yourselves?
It was the camera work was done by Jay Devan and Ben Aldridge and Mikey, who are from Bullet Media. But the editing and stuff,
it's
I did
Joey.
myself.
It's Joey, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, the editing.
The editing is Joey.
But we like to have a real creative side in our videos. We don't really want someone else to do them for us because we like that to be another like extension of the music and of our attitudes and our likes and dislikes and stuff.
So even the costumes and the props for the extras, what do you call them? Extras in the video?
Purgers.
The purgers.
Yeah.
Like Joey made all of those as well.
Yeah,
Just
my
sat
wife
at
and
home
I
with
just
his
made those all together.
and made them.
Like, designed them all, made them. And
Is your wife in the video?
She is a couple of times. She's the teddy bear cheerleader,
Right.
and she's also the pink top, like kind of tank girl style. Yeah,
Your videos look like so much fun. I watched them. I was like, how do I get in one? I need to get in this. I really do.
Well, we might be releasing another one. So
Okay, then you
Join
know
the
where
coven.
I'm at. You join the coven, right? Okay. I was going to talk about the extras in that, the purges, the kind of story that's telling. You know, where did that come about? What was the idea in making of the video?
I think the song kind of originated like lyrically as kind of like a tribute to the Purge films. Like we're all into like horror movies and stuff, and like the Purge is like a modern kind of classic, really. Like just to kind of change the style of filming for horror for a while and stuff. So I kind of really influenced by that lyrically. The song did eventually take more of like kind of a standing up for what you believe in rather than having a night of crime. But the video kind of just felt right, that it had that kind of anarchy kind of craziness to it because it fitted the drums of the song and the feel of it. But yeah, I just kind of thought it would be cool like to just have loads of characters. Again, it was all about that grandeur again, because in other videos it was just the band and that's all we could have, or maybe one person like as an extra, whereas we wanted everything to be big, so we had to have a big cast as well.
Yeah. Cold Day in Hell is your second track that you released, but there was a bit of a gap between obviously February and then Cold Day in Hell coming out due to the pandemic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally couldn't film it, weren't allowed to. So
Yeah.
the moment they said more than X people could meet, that was it.
We all drove out to a field in Blandford and made that video.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you, how did the filming go for that? And it's a great video.
Yeah, so we had to be spread out, so we tried to design the video to be, you know, spatially aware of each other, and you know, and like makeup and stuff was done by like a person that was making sure that they were covered and all that kind of stuff, and you know, just doing everything we could to keep it safe as soon as they allowed us to do that much. The video went amazingly. We got a farm from a chap called Tony, who just basically let us have it for the day, and he was amazingly supportive and made that video possible, basically.
Wow.
And but yeah, it was all based on the kind of the old Crossroads story, which I don't know if you know, but someone else can explain that. You're probably good at that.
Well, yes, it's the classic, the devil, go and meet the devil at the crossroads, sell your soul.
I love how you've said Pip can do that bit, by the way.
It was his idea. It was his idea.
Oh, you know about this, Pip, selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah, well, it's... I don't know what you mean. It's one of, just a slight sidetrack, one of the really good things about working with these guys is I'm not very creative in the sense of visualizing things, but I have like little seeds of ideas that Joey and I laugh, and we call them my castle in the sky. And I'll come up with this like grand idea, like, well, let's just rent like a jet but actually fly it to the moon, and then Joey will sit there and be like, no.
So we can't do that, but we could possibly do this. So, so I have to kind of tone him down a bit.
But yeah, it's a tale as old as time. It's a real old school musician style guitarist. The fiddle, Devil Down to Georgia, all that kind of stuff has, even Cats. Mr. Mistopheles, you meet them down the crossroads, you sell your soul, you get fame, fortune, riches, whatever. It's that classic kind of tale.
Yeah.
And we kind of like the idea that, because with the Robert Johnson story, he basically like disappeared and then came back amazing. And I feel like that, not to blow our own trumpet or anything, but we have kind of disappeared from our original bands and then come back with like this whole kind of new sense, new direction, new drive, new production. It's it just resonated a little bit with what happened in our band as well.
Yeah.
Not that we sold our soul to the devil, just saying.
No.
Maybe.
Not yet. So that video, the song is so catchy. It's one of those earworms that gets in your head. I've been listening to it all week in preparation for this interview, and everybody's singing it. It's cool. Great. What has the response been once you released that song? How did people...
I think when we released Let Us Pray, people just didn't know who we were. We were just this brand new band, and that was the first thing. We had like one gig booked, and no one really knew what we were doing. But by the time Cold Day in Hell, people had an interest in the band, so they could kind of concentrate on the music and what we were doing. And the response was just amazing.
It was nuts.
It was
like the numbers on all the videos and stuff, because
it's gone huge. It's gone massive.
Especially in the pandemic, we can't see how many people come into a gig. Yeah. So all we can see are these numbers of people commenting, and everybody has been so unbelievably positive. It's been really encouraging to us.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely makes us want to move forward. But the response to that video in particular was just crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And what about radio stations picking it up to play? How's that been going?
They've been in contact all the time.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to play something. So it's again incredibly moving to have that. It's not something we've
definitely for because we were just punk rock DIY bands and stuff like that, and heavy metal bands. It's from going from that to having people genuinely interested in the band has been. It's been great. It definitely feels like it's made it all worthwhile and all that sort of stuff. But it's new, but
we're not used to it.
No,
it's really humbling.
Power Play and Classic Rock magazine reviewing our album. We're just what?
Yeah.
Is this happening? So it's very cool.
When we've done videos in previous bands, it may have taken 20,000 views over 8 years, and then there was 20,000 views in half a day. Cold Day in Hell was just what's nuts.
This is why I think you guys are definitely the ones to watch at the minute. Once this album comes out, it's going to be... I can't wait. I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to watch. At what point did you kind of realise you had something really special with that song? Was it when the numbers just started flying up, like you just said, that amount of views in half a day?
We all kind of knew that song was a good song on the album.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even in the studio.
We would have released it first, but we thought we'd have something to introduce everybody to us with Let Us Pray. But we kind of always knew it would be the single that we wanted the great big outdoor video and all that sort of stuff for.
Begging for a drone in the video for that.
Same guys that did Let Us Pray filmed.
We got the same team in to do that video, and then I edited it.
And then you edited it
in one day.
In one day, yeah. Cold Day in Hell was edited in one day, as was Let Us Pray.
That's some talent there you got, Joey.
Some lack of sleep.
I have the talent of not sleeping.
Wow. And then, so your third track, Demons Are Forever, actually came out a few days ago, as you said, on World Suicide Prevention Day. This is a really powerful song, and the video matches it as well. Where did the inspiration for this song come from? What are the roots to it?
So, like I said before, we've always wanted to be lyrically honest, and I think all of us in our lives have dealt with, kind of low times, especially in the music industry. Like Dee said, we've all had the letdowns and the things we thought were going to be incredible, and then they haven't turned out. And, and not everybody has your best interests at heart. And I think dealing with that, we've all suffered in some way. And we know that we've always been very close to our fan base, even as a DIY kind of band. We've always been very close to our fan base. And I think we've learnt a lot about them as much as we've learnt about ourselves. So I think we wanted something that spoke to them and gave the right message across, and that you're not alone, and that people can come through the other side of depression. And so that was kind of where the influence of the original lyrics came from, was that the demons are forever, is that grief and heartache and depression are always there. They are something that doesn't really go away, but it's how you deal with it that is the message there.
I think it's really relevant right now as well, considering we've all been in a lockdown, in a pandemic. Times are really strange, especially this year, 2020, and we're not out of it yet. And I think people have definitely battled some demons in lockdown. So I think the way that you guys went about it and the video as well, it actually sends quite a positive message through it too.
We certainly didn't want it just to be like tribute to people that have lost. We wanted people that had gone through that, come out the other side. And when we said about being part of the video, we said, what would you say to your younger self? What would you say? And people had some things like, there is hope, and that you will get through this, you're not alone. And it was great because it was exactly how we felt, and we felt that our fans really knew exactly how it felt, and we agreed with everything that they were saying.
Mm-hmm. The response to that was really overwhelming, and we wish we could have used everything that was sent through to us as well. But as Joey said, finding that balance, which I think we did really, really well, that balance between messages of people, paying tribute to those they've lost, but also messages of hope.
Yeah.
Really important to find that balance so that it's not one or the other too much and it doesn't become overwhelming, but it is.
Yeah.
As is written on Alex's keyboard, you're not alone. There are other people that have been through this, and on either side, either experiencing it yourself or experiencing the loss of a loved one, you're not alone on either sense, because sometimes, especially if someone takes their own life, it's very, very difficult to get your head around it and to deal with it if you've never felt that way.
Yeah.
So talking to someone who's experienced those feelings themselves doesn't help you because you're still not in that mindset. But talking to somebody who has also lost a loved one, both parts of it are really important. It's not just one-sided.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, isn't there some survivor stories in the video as well?
There are, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to balance it out.
We appreciate everybody that got involved in that.
Totally.
Really appreciate it. It's a tough thing to share, and those people came forward, and it's incredible to see.
And actually, like you just mentioned, Alex is on it with you as well. How did that come about?
Well, we're putting together the album. There's like keys on the album everywhere, and they're mostly done by
Ellie Price. She's in a band called Signals.
Okay.
She put a lot of the keyboards, and then I did a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Here and there.
And then we had all that, and then we had Demons, which is like this real slow atmospheric song. And we were like, we knew we had to get a guest in on it, and like immediately we kind of knew it had to be Alex.
Yeah.
The AVD from Defiled and Red Method. And we just hit him up. And I messaged him, and he got back and said, yeah. And we went
Didn't get back to me.
He wouldn't get back to you.
Ignored me.
And he knows it.
He got back to me, luckily, because I was offering him money. And
There it is.
He didn't actually charge us at all for it.
We just got in touch with him, and like he took it away. He was like, how do you want it to sound? I'm like, make it creepy, but have like a full orchestra. And I got back, and I got it in my inbox, and I listened to it, and I couldn't believe it was the same song.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm not going to send this to everybody yet. I need to listen to this a few times to make sure it's all right. So like sitting in my flat, listening to it, and then I sent it to you first. I'm like, brace yourself when you listen to this.
It's massive. It just took it from this kind of like what you'd expect a slow, kind of quite empty song to feel like a little guitar, a bit of drums, the vocals, very, very spacious, but then it just came back and there's this epic thing. We're just like, whoa, like it had so many layers on it, and like I think you said in the intro, it's like the most dynamic and had the most
definitely.
range of any song we've ever done. I
Easily.
agree completely. Yeah, it's made it very special.
For you guys personally, what are your favourite tracks on the album? Each of you must have something different that's close to your heart, or is there just one that stands out?
No, we can't decide. We're
Such
still
a
arguing
difficult
about it now. Cold Day in Hell normally tends to be in everybody's like top 3 kind of
Fish
thing.
says yes.
Yeah, Fish, yeah.
Demons for me is always at the top there as well.
Yeah, Demons and Cold Day. But then the more they discuss it, that we end up going through every song on the album gets named if we discuss it as a 5. We've done it.
I think mine's Pretty Little Nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Tell us about that one, Dee.
Oh, this is a good song.
Oh yeah,
Hey, well,
because you make it good, or because
yeah, well,
it's
it's got a very strong bass line, and that's
There you
basically,
That's all that matters.
That might be what he
Basically.
likes it. Yeah.
and that's all you as fans care about, as a strong bass line.
well, it helps.
that away.
It
Just
does
take that
help.
away.
All they care about is the bass line. Yeah.
Pretty Little Nightmare is a good song. I think one day or another that will probably get a video. I think when it comes out, when the album's launched next week, I think people will latch onto that song. I think it's got
Yeah.
something special about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a different one, then they can let us know, and
Yeah.
we
I'm
might
sure they
sway.
will.
We may sway our decision.
I think that's one of the things is we're so close to it. We're so close to the music on the album. We've heard it so much.
Yeah,
that-
for like over a year now.
yeah, and I'm not bored of it, which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's that whole frustration of learning something over and over and over and over and over again, but it hasn't really happened. I think for us, like the question is going to be reversed. It's like we can't wait to see what other people's favourites are,
Yeah.
and then see if it aligns the same way it does with us. That's something we're really excited about, I think.
And at a live show, we can't wait to see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like
Yeah.
kind of gang vocals, especially like with the '80s kind of influence. There's a lot of gangs and woes and stuff like that. So I'd love to hear like people singing along and see which ones they really stood out to them.
Yeah. So, drummer wise, the song that is easiest for you to play, hardest for you to play on the album, that had you strapped up?
Yeah, well, that's Let's Pray. That was the one. It's the
Okay.
last one we recorded as well. So it took a lot of time for me to warm up.
It wasn't a
Okay.
good idea to do the 180 BPM song last.
no. But
Practically a drum solo at the beginning. Yeah.
again, Demons is fun to play. It's got that real dynamic range to it, being able to sort of hard hit and play softly. Dead Hearts Don't Break is probably one of the most fun ones to play. They're all really fun. They're all kind of different.
Like 'em all.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
One of the things that Scott really nailed into me was to stop trying to overcomplicate everything I've been doing, because I've been playing in some more extreme bands, more technical metal bands, and the instinct is to always just fill it with bass drum, fill it with fills, fill it with cymbals, and then just stripping it all back and back and back, and actually thinking about what I'm playing is what's made it more interesting, I think, for me. But yeah, it's just fun to be able to groove at the same time, which is
Yeah.
it's nice.
Okay. Fish on guitars. For you personally, are there any riffs in there that you like to play?
Yeah, I really like to play Cold Day in Hell.
That's your one.
Uh,
That does have an amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just about the solo either. The riffs are, really easy to play, but it's one of those fun ones you can actually really get down and just enjoy yourself playing live as well as playing
Yeah.
it on the album. It's been absolutely fantastic to do.
I can't wait for you guys to play that in front of a crowd. It's going to go off.
me
It's
too.
going to go insane. Joey singing. What about for you?
Well, Cold Day in Hell, I made a bit of an error because I forgot to leave Anywhere to Breathe, which is not great when you're doing vocals. When I recorded the album, it was all like in bits and pieces, and then when I heard it back, I was like, oh God, like Cold Day in Hell, there's nowhere to stop until like the solo, so I have to just keep going. But like through rehearsals and stuff, kind of, I've worked it out now. I think got it pretty good, but that was a challenge.
Okay. Cody, guitars for you. Anything in particular that stands out as your favourite?
My favorite on guitar, my favorite solo is definitely Demons.
Yeah.
It's a good solo to play. But my favorite song to play, like as a band, is the Hating Me. It's got this real groove, bouncy. Like there'll be a lot of jumping up and down at shows for that. I hope.
Yeah.
It's exactly the right beat and everything. I think it'll be great fun.
Okay. And D, are you sticking with Pretty Little Nightmare, or is there another one?
I'm not actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna,
See, this is how often we change our favourite song mid-interview.
and I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go Made to Be Mine because
Oh, I really like
I
playing that
managed
one
to
as well.
sneak.
That's bass heavy as well.
That's a really good drum song
yeah,
too.
and I managed to sneak a naughty little bass solo in there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's my favourite to play live.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really like Severely Yours as well, the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
got
this
a
is the
bounce
problem.
to it.
You've unleashed a whole
Can
conversation
open
now.
worms
Yeah.
everywhere.
Made to Be Mine is like a Billy Idol-esque. It's got that kind of real like heavy bass line. It's like just a really nice strong beat, and like D kicks ass on that song. Like the bass is awesome. So I completely
Nice.
agree with that.
All right, so the album is out next week, 25th of September. The Sinner Takes It All. Pre-orders, have you pre-ordering? Is that happening?
Yeah, so pre-orders went live a little while ago. We did a deluxe coffin box set for it, which is actually made by everyone in the band. We did everything, pretty much everything ourselves on those. and
They're gone.
they're gone.
They were sold out, yeah.
within
So-
about the first week.
No
They've
way.
gone, all 50 of them gone. So
Wow.
that was great. But for the actual album, now we're doing pre-orders on the CDs, and we've got a limited like see-through blue vinyl, which is awesome. Which we've
So
always
excited about the vinyl.
Yeah.
Vinyl's arriving in the post this week.
Yeah, so we're very excited
We're
about that,
excited.
and it's just that thing like especially Cody and myself, like we grew up on like rockabilly music and stuff.
Yeah.
So like the vinyl was like the only way that you listen to those tracks, you know, like the old 50s rock and roll and like the 80s like rockabilly. So to have our own vinyl now is just like it's like dream come true. So yeah.
In terms of a record label, a record deal, are you looking for that right now? Are you happy to just carry on with your management? What direction do you want to go in with that?
I mean, like I said before, like we've always like having our own like kind of personality in the music videos and everything that we do in our online presence. We'd love to go out touring more, and I think that's somewhere where we don't really know a lot about. But with the record label, if the right one came along, like
Yeah, it's about getting the right deal. Like, we're a pretty self-sufficient band. Dee deals with the merch. This man right here deals with all like the booking of dates and stuff. Joey's creative.
do all the arty stuff.
Yeah, I do like all the online Facebook, IG, and Fish just a stage show and all
And
of
tech
that.
support.
Everything. Yeah, fixes everything. So we're like super self-sufficient as a band. So you know, we'd be looking just for the right offer, really, if that was the case.
And so going forward from here, I mean, obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic, but looking at 2021, do you have anything lined up, penciled in, any plans?
We're playing Teddy Rock's festival. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So yeah,
It's
we're-
for a really good cause as well. So and like we all attended it last year.
yeah. Yeah, I've been going there for a few years. So like, it's just an amazing atmosphere, and very honoured to be part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just trying to pencil in dates, really trying to get something going. Everybody's going to be touring in the entire in the entire music industry. So
It's one of the challenges is with 2020 being so shut down, everything from 2020 has moved to 2021. So we're a little bit perhaps behind on it. I mean, our manager Gordon's working really, really hard to get these dates lined up. You know, some are even looking at 2022. You know, it just kind of...
Wow.
I think one of the things for us is going to be seeing how the album's received and whether that gets us a little bit more of a foot in the door as to like playing some other shows.
Yeah,
but we just want to play.
Well, we'll be
that's,
playing.
that's what we want to do.
we are a live
that's
band.
us.
Like we've done all these videos. We've you know got the online presence, but we are really a live band.
Yeah.
Like,
And we're very ready to be a live band.
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're
Really
very
miss
we are
playing.
itching to get back in that van.
Halloween, I was going to ask you about. I feel like because you've got the Coven and it's going so well and your album will be out by then, have you got anything planned for Halloween, maybe?
We've been talking about some stuff. I mean, for the actual album release, we're going to be doing like a live stream of the album, and we'll be on the chat talking to people whilst we're listening to the album ourselves.
We haven't announced that yet.
Well, that's an exclusive. So yeah, that'll be happening on the 25th. But for Halloween,
It's kind of far enough away that there might be a new video around then. No promises.
we're working.
Depending
on some ideas.
depending on global pandemic issues and social
Yeah,
distancing.
we'll see.
The Road to Rock.
Thank you for checking out this week's episode of The Road to Rock, and thank you to the South of Salem boys for joining me. If you've been affected by any of the topics discussed in this interview, help and support is available at mindrush.org.uk. Thank you to Rich and Dave for making this possible, Shelley and G, and as always, don't forget to check out the Road to Rock podcast on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under the Road to Rock podcast.